Well, I'm a little bit nervous. Je suis un peu nerveuse parce que je commence. Et comme tous les commencements, avec quoi est-ce que je peux commencer? Je vais commencer avec ma bien première jeunesse. Qu'est-ce que je me rappelle? Mes premières mémoires. Si je pense bien, c'est une chambre où c'était une très grande couronne et tout le monde pleurait. Plus tard, je me suis enfin enseignée, on m'a raconté que c'était une tante à moi qui était morte et puisqu'elle était morte, on lui a apporté des gens, on a envoyé une couronne avec des fleurs. Comment ça se fait que cette tante était chez nous et morte? C'est que dans ce temps-là, dans ces années, c'était en Ukraine, c'était ce qu'on appelait pogrom. Pogrom, ça voudrait dire que on tuait, on faisait toutes sortes de choses des choses mal aux gens qui ont été riches ou qui ont été d'une autre nationalité, des juifs. Et dans une de ces pogroms, c'était mon grand-père qui était tué, je pense. Comment on l'a fait? C'est que on a fait dans ce petit village d'où ils ont été et où mon grand-père a eu plusieurs magasins avec ses enfants. Chaque enfant a eu un magasin, un petit magasin ou un grand. Je ne pense pas que c'était grand, c'était plutôt petit. Et les gens, les mauvais gens, on a fait un grand trou. Et dans ce trou, ils ont amené tous les hommes, des jeunes et des vieux, tous les hommes de ce petit village. On les a mis dans le trou et par-dessous, ils ont jeté du calque. Je pense que le calque est correct, français. Du calque, c'est la chose qu'on peinturait les murs. Quelques peut-être se sont sauvés, pas peut-être, mais ça je m'ai dit aussi plus tard. Quelques se sont sauvés, mais mon grand-père était mort. Dans la famille, il n'avait pas sa première femme qui était aussi morte beaucoup avant. Il a été marié une deuxième fois et les enfants qui sont restés, il y avait des garçons, mais il y avait aussi 4 filles. Alors mon père est allé avec vraiment le risque de sa vie. Il est allé jusqu'à la rivière Nistre, le Nistre, qui faisait c'était une frontière entre plus tard Bassarabie et aussi l'Ukraine. Et quand cette rivière, il est allé, quand cette rivière était bien gelée, alors ils ont pu passer d'un côté à l'autre. Et naturellement, il y avait des gens qui ont été payés pour faire ça. Ils ont amené les 4 jeunes filles d'un côté de l'est de l'Ukraine à la Bassarabie. Mon père les a amenés. Une de ces filles avait, je ne me souviens plus quand et quand, ça j'étais pas trop au courant, elle a fait du typhus exanthematique, de la fièvre typhoïde, et à la suite elle était morte. Et ça c'était l'occasion que je me souvenais et de laquelle je me souvenais. Après ça, ce que je me souviens encore, c'était mes collègues, des autres enfants, rien d'important. Plus tard, c'est éparpillé tous mes mémoires un peu, mais ça c'est naturel. Nous avons déménagé dans une très grande maison et là-bas où je grandis, où j'étais dans cette maison jusqu'à mon âge, enfin, jusqu'à je partais de la maison pour me marier. Mais c'était une maison de laquelle je me rappelle avec beaucoup d'amour, comme je m'imagine que beaucoup de monde se rappelle de leur jeunesse, aussi de la maison dans laquelle ils ont grandi. C'était comme mon père était pharmacien ou droguiste, comme on appelait drogueria en pharmacie, 1000 grammes. Son nom était 1000 grammes. C'est drôle. C'était en avant une chambre, une grande chambre, où c'était la pharmacie, et en arrière, c'était tout de suite pour entrer, c'était la salle à dîner. À droite, c'était aussi nos chambres à coucher d'enfants et la chambre à coucher des parents. Et d'autre côté, c'était un salon qui, c'était drôle, s'appelait la chambre blanche. C'était le salon avec la tapisserie blanche, une tapisserie très, comme si je me souviens bien, j'aimerais mettre la main sur cette tapisserie parce que c'était un velours blanc. Et à côté de cette chambre, une autre chambre, si quelqu'un venait, si quelqu'un couchait chez nous, c'était avec la tapisserie rouge, aussi velours, et ça s'appelait la chambre rouge. Et dans cette maison, j'étais là. À part de ça, ça me revient. Sont arrivés, c'était occupé, je ne peux pas savoir les années maintenant, je ne me le souviens pas quelle année c'était, mais oui, c'était de l'année 1918, parce que moi, j'étais la première élève inscrite dans une garderie roumaine, puisque les Roumains ont occupé cette partie, la Bassarabie. Et ma mère m'a inscrit c'est elle qui était la première de m'inscrire. Donc ma langue, de la langue russe que je parlais, qu'on parlait tout avant, on a commencé à parler la langue roumaine. Naturellement qu'à la maison avec les parents, ils n'ont pas parlé roumain, on parlait seulement que le russe. Donc tout à coup, j'étais obligée de devenir bilingue. Et c'est dans cette atmosphère d'un petit village que j'ai grandi. Après la garderie, je suis rentrée dans la première classe d'école primaire, qui était aussi, toutes les écoles on était en langue roumaine, et quand même la langue russe était interdite par les Roumains. Ça veut dire les Roumains ont interdit, ils ont voulu que la nouvelle génération apprenne seulement que la langue roumaine. On vivait dans ce jour-là, dans les 4 années de classe primaire, très, très jeune. Et après ça, je rentré dans la première année de lycée, aussi en roumain, jusqu'aux 4 ans de lycée. Et c'est tout. Ce qui était dans ce village. En finissant les 4 classes de lycée, on a dû m'envoyer dehors pour continuer mes études. Parce que ma mère disait qu'elle était très moderne d'après moi. Maintenant, on peut se rendre compte. Elle disait qu'une fille doit avoir aussi une profession pour ne pas être dépendante de son nourrisseur et de son provider, je ne sais pas comment on le dit. En français, ça ne me revient pas le mot. Enfin, de son mari qui lui donne d'argent pour vivre. Et ils ont voulu qu'après ça, que je continue à l'université. Enfin, ça, c'était leur idéal. À l'école que je suis rentrée, s'appelait oui, l'école à laquelle j'étais, c'était l'Institut des femmes romaines orthodoxes. C'était une école très sévère, avec des manières beaucoup d'attention pour les manières et aussi pour les langues. On a eu là-bas des dames de France qui sont venues, demoiselles, pour nous faire apprendre le français, et d'autres dames, demoiselles, d'Allemagne, pour nous faire apprendre la langue allemande. Dans les classes qui se conduisaient en roumain, était correct de parler roumain. Mais aussitôt qu'on a eu une récréation, on sortait de la classe, on était obligé, c'était interdit de parler la langue roumaine. Et naturellement, on était jeunes et on s'amusait aussi. De cette manière, quand une demoiselle française s'approchait de nous pour vérifier la langue qu'on parle, on commençait, c'était une française, on parlait allemand, alors elle partait en sachant que tout est en règle. Et c'était la même chose avec une Allemagne, on commençait à parler français. Et comme ça nous a donné, on a fait beaucoup plus profiter des langues que finalement on a profité. Mais de toute façon, dans ma vie, je me suis rendu compte que les langues, d'une manière, elles ont formé ma vie. Et ça, on verra beaucoup plus tard. Je vais vous raconter. Et j'ai fini cette classe de lycée. Enfin, la vie était... On a fait d'amis, on s'amusait, on étudiait. Et c'était aussi une famille chez qui venait me chercher pour le samedi et dimanche. Donc on pourrait pas sortir de l'école sans être accompagné, sans être avec quelqu'un, ou que nos parents ont donné la permission de sortir avec telle et telle personne. Et
Okay, well, I'm just testing it right now. We're finally here with Grandma Chiro. Thank you for doing it. Yes. So let's see. I'm just testing to see if this works, and then we'll see.
Yes, go ahead. What do you want to ask? What would you like to know about me?
Where were you born?
Where I was born. I was born in Kilia, Noah. This is in Romanian. In Russian, when I was born, it was Novaya Kilia. This is in Russian. I was born now, funny part is, at the time when I was born, there were two calendars. One was older, looked like the 13th it was, and then going back it was the 1st. So you had a choice how to choose the date. So my mother chose, my parents, they chose 1st. It was in the month of May. The 13th, nobody believed in the 13th. It was a bad number. So she registered me as born the 1st of May, 1913. It was still a 13. But apparently I don't think that, just thinking of it, I see how all my life went on a path. You correct me if it's not English, not correct English, please. On a road, like somebody would take me by the hand and decide how my life should go. And it's funny, I was just the other day, I realized that so many things, because I was supposed to give an interview for La Presse, and I was speaking to the journalist, and I realized all of a sudden how all the happenings in my life were like somebody would take me by hand and go with me by there where it was, let's say, less dangerous. Okay, you want to know, after my birth, well, we were living in a tiny house where it was, I don't know how many rooms they were there, but there was one of the rooms, see, my father was a pharmacist. One of the rooms, like the front room, was the pharmacy. And what I remember is my father went, I have to find out exactly, and too bad that it's no one older than me in the family now. Nobody older than me is. But I think that it was, I have to look in the history book, I think it was 1917. Then I would be 4 years old. I think that it was the revolution. I was, if you could find out in what year it was the Russian Revolution, the Bolsheviks. And by that time, we were living, as I told you, in Kilianova. We were separated by the Russians. Through the border was water, flood. I have in French, I have a river that is called Mister. And what I remember is that the Nister, it was winter, the Nister got frozen, freeze, and my father, they were young married, with the danger to his life, went to the Nister and he brought back 4 little girls. They were my mother's sister. Yes, my mother's sisters, because their father was, by that time, the Bolsheviks. In that little town, they digged a big hole for all the men, Jews. They brought them in this hole, in the earth, and they poured chalk over them. Some died, some escaped. My grandfather died, so they remained without a father. Besides, his first wife died many years ago, probably, and he remarried because he had small children, so to have a mother. So this woman had too many children. So my father went, since my mother was the oldest one, he went to the border, which was Nister, to bring those girls. Nister froze, and then he paid the man, and the man brought them over to the other side. And he brought them home. The one of them you remember, it was the youngest one. It was Intihaichka, Shura's mother. She was the youngest one. So she was 9 years older than me. So you realize what my parents had. And by that time, girls were such a cadeau, such a present, because they had to have, who had girls, knew that he has to work very hard to have dowry for them. So my father took the engagement. He was a wonderful man, my father. By the way, your name is after him. Wonderful, wonderful man. Not because he was my father.
Why was he wonderful?
Why was he wonderful? He had a very, very good nature. He was completely amaterialistic. I know that, as I told you, we had a pharmacy, drugstore, and sometimes people from all around, they were lipovens, kind of Russians, but not really Russians, anyhow, I don't know how to say it. And from far, they used to come to him. He liked very much what he was doing. He studied a lot. And they used to come and to call him his name. The Russians used to call Mr., very with respect. The Lipovens used to say always one to another by the name. It wasn't gentlemen like Mr.
More informal.
It was just by the first name. They used to call him Davidka. His name was David. And he said, Davidka, I went to all doctors, and I came from far to you. And if you won't help me, I'm going to order a screen, how do you call it, where they put the people when they die? A coffin.
Yeah, you're teaching me.
Well, you don't know what I have to say. I'm going to order a coffin, because they used to order a coffin ahead. Yes. So, and if my mother sometimes, and he said, this cost 2 cents or 1 cent. My mother used to say, listen, You're not making any money at all. What are you? Also, he said, so how much it costs me? You know, he was very, in a way, very naive in what regards money.
And how does that, how are you like?
Opa.
My question was, how are you like your father?
How I am?
Yeah.
How I am like my father? I think I am a copy of him.
How?
Well, you know.
You didn't care about how much you charged?
Always completely materialistic. Trying to give the best. In fact, when I was making my creams, my laboratory, once he came to me with a bottle in which they were, I still have the bottles in the laboratory. It was about 100 grams of a substance. And he came, he said, what are you doing with this powder, this substance? It's $364. You know, the numbers I don't remember very well, but this I remember for $364. What are you using? I say, it's a very good substance I'm using in the creams. And so he said, it's so expensive. I said, so what? You know, it really, I tried. No, Shoma said. When I really tried, sincerely, to give the best. And this gave me the satisfaction. And for this I studied a lot, I read a lot. I read a lot. Only this was interesting me. A roman, I wasn't interested.
You were very focused.
Very focused on this. And if you do something, from your practice, if you do something which you like, I think at the end it's more important than any money you would make. In my position, I could have made a lot of money. And what, really? And I didn't care. I didn't probably want even to spend time on it. And I was very lucky that my husband, your grandfather, didn't insist. He understood me. He understood me very well. And he let me, like in our private life, accept my professional life. He was the one that decided, and whatever he said, it was always okay with me. To that extent that on one occasion he said, I think that I am the boss in the house, and when I think, well, it's my wife that I'm doing everything what my wife wants. And he could only refer professionally, because really, would I have another husband, another man who wouldn't understand me, I wouldn't be able to go as far as I went, because I had all my freedom and all his understanding, his support in getting there. So what more can I ask?
What did you enjoy about working in the laboratory, and what did you enjoy about working with people?
Oh, first of all, what I did in laboratory, everything I tried on myself. And with people, what I did in laboratory, I confirmed the results in people. And my clientele knew always that I said, please, if you don't like it, don't worry, bring it back, we take it back. If you don't like it. But I don't know what was the percentage, but very, very rarely that, and you know, you have to do it with a body. You cannot guess so much, so if sometimes something is not convenient, it's very normal. So, now, what else you want me to tell you? Further to go with my story?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a long story. I'm 83 years old.
We have lots of time.
Well, so then, the Russian, we were separated definitely from the Bolsheviks, and it was called the Iron Curtain. And that time, funny, only once in his life, my father did business. Somebody
Go ahead.
Since you see, they tried the Romanian, tried to make it Romania. And my age, I probably was by then, I could just figure out what year it was. I was probably 6 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old. So 13 less 6 is 7. It was probably when the Russian and the revolutions were, was in 1907. I don't know arithmetics, but when I need them, they help me.
Yes.
And so they opened the first kindergarten. And since my mother was a very, very, what is it?
Your dryer is going on.
Was a very advanced person. Very advanced. Now, when I think of it, by the time in general, in times, it was mother.
Sure. You didn't have other mothers to compare her to.
That's probably too. Anyhow, she took me and she registered me. She registered me as I was the first registered in the Romanian kindergarten. And I love the Romanian language. But it's true that Russian and Romanian were both my languages. But all my studies and everything was in Romanian language. With parents, I was speaking Russian. Some elderly people. And then I went further to schools, to high school, to Lyceum, but not to high school. And then we had only we had 4 classes. Oh, I don't know how long I was in the kindergarten. But then start the first public school. I don't know how to compare them to. There were 4 classes in public school. Then it was the Lyceum. And it was normally in bigger towns, the Lyceum was 7 years. Because it was a little town, as I told you, they had only 4 years. So when I finished the 4 years, my parents had to send me away to another school where they had the 7 years. And my parents wanted me to go to the university. And you couldn't go without giving. After 7 years, you had to pass a very, very hard exam. I don't know if you heard about baccalaureate.
Tell me about that.
Well, so I finished the 4 years, normally like everybody goes to school and so on. no, 4 years of high school, and then, no, public school. I finished 4 years, and then 4 years high school. And after the 4 years high school, they sent me to Galați, which it was a Romanian town. And it was, by the way, this little town where I was born was on the Danube, and the Danube was close, or the Danube actually, not right there, further, or got into the Black Sea. You know, the Danube starts in the Schwarzwald and goes through Europe and gets through three branches. Do you call them branches in English? Three hands, three fingers. I don't know. That's how they call them, fingers? Branches. I don't think fingers. Through 3 fingers. It was Chilia, Sulina, Sfântul Gheorghe. It was the three branches. I was born in Chilia. And in Chilia, so to go to Galați, you had to take a boat, not a boat, a real big ship, passengers. It was a nice ship because it went, and it was going, I think, about 8 hours on the Danube. Then you arrived to Galați. Well, Galați, this boarding school, was a very, very pretentious, very stiff, let's say, with all the manners, all the students had to be, by the way, you see how I'm straight in thinking only, I try to sit straight. The way you walk, the way you eat, the way you address people, like never would be accepted. A student should speak to a teacher with the hands in the pocket. So, and on the other hand, it was nice. I mean, that time we didn't consider it nice. They were very strict. Since I was from out of town, I had a friend there in Galați, people that used to be our neighbors, and they moved to Galați. So their daughter was my friend. And my parents wrote, like, gave a signature that I can go out if she'll come to pick me up from the school. I have the right. But that time I was about 16 years old or 17. No, less. I have to figure out. I finished school at 18. Less 4, about 15 years old. So she had to come to pick me up. And I'll never forget, even now I'm getting goose pimples, that, you see, we had to wear black stockings. We had to wear a pelerina. You know what pelerina is? Like a coat that, it's not a coat, doesn't have any sleeves. How do you call it? No, it's not. A big long one.
For a woman?
Yes. No, but it's a ballerina. It's, anyhow, like... No. Wait a second, I'll show you.
Oh, a scarf?
No.
A shawl?
Not a shawl.
I don't know. But anyway, yeah. Okay, we're out.
So, to go go out from the school, I had to wear. Is it okay?
Mom? I'm sure I want to talk to you.
Alina, how do you say in English, ballerina? A cape. Okay, thank you, darling. Darling. No, I don't need you. You'll hear less. Oh, wonderful. Okay. Where? Okay, David is taping me. So, the cape. You see? You have to be stubborn in life, David. I'm not stubborn, no. It's the wrong word. It's not stubborn. I'm persistent.
Okay.
I'm not stubborn. If you'll prove me. Stubborn people they want their way. And you can prove from today till tomorrow they still say this is right. And I am not stubborn. Because I judge and I say, okay, you are right. So, okay, it was a cape. And I'll never forget. The friend came. Listen, you bring all my memories back. A friend came. This friend, Dina, is her name. She came. She's not alive anymore. She had Alzheimer's. She came. She was beautiful. She came to pick me up. We were going out. So I had black stockings. The street where the school was a very, very quiet street. You couldn't see a person there. So underneath the black stockings, I had a beige, 10 beige stockings. And so as soon as I came to the street, I bent down a little. The ballerina, the cape, covered what I was doing. And I took out the black stockings, and I remained with the clean ones, with the other ones. And just when I was doing this, finishing, doing this, the sub-director, how you call sub-director, like the ad for the principal, was coming across. David, look, even now I have got pimples. What I felt, how many years ago? Take out 15 from 83. It was, but apparently she didn't realize and she didn't notice. So,
what would have happened?
Well, who knows? Maybe they won't let me for three Saturdays to go out. Who knows what would happen?
Because you always have to keep the black.
We had to be black with black stockings, with a black ballerina, cape, and very strict, like nuns. The school was called the School of Școala Femeilor Române Creștine Ortodoxe. The school was called the School of Romanian Orthodox Christians. And as a Jew, they accepted Jews.
Did you ever have any problems being Jewish then?
No, they had the Krishna religion. They had a priest coming twice for religious lessons, and they had a Jewish teacher coming for Jewish. They were not too many Jewish, but you see, this school was a high-class school, where we also had there ladies that came from France and Germany. During the recreation hours, when you don't, during the recess, we should speak French or German, not Romanian. We were not allowed to speak Romanian because they paid them a lot. They brought those ladies from France and from Germany. Now what happened is, listen, I feel I got young again. happened is that between us, we had to speak one of those two languages. So if the German lady came, we started to speak French. So she saw we speak a foreign language. So she left. And we stuck back Romanian. When we saw coming the French lady, we started to speak German. And she left, and we stuck Romanian. So this is how they spend a lot of money for us to teach them better. But still, I want to tell you something, David. In my life, and I guess in everybody's life who speaks foreign languages, people who make you, or circumstances, better say, who bring you to be able to speak a foreign language is the biggest dowry for your life. That's why we sent your mother. It wasn't easy for us, but we sent your mother to Europe to go to a French school to learn French. It's very, very important. And in general, you see those times, and my mother was the one, she directed all this traffic of learning. She wanted us. Believe me, what my parents paid for me wasn't easy for them at all. Because my father was a poor pharmacist.
Tell me more about your mother, how she directed you.
How my mother directed us in a way, or just not only her, we listened to her. And in education, I don't know, she was there. I know one thing, when I finished the school, and I had to see like what. By that time, don't forget, there were not too many women to go into a profession. They were here and there. They used to take medicine, like your Aunt Malvina. She was much older than I was, and she finished medicine. Your Aunt Cecilia finished law. You know, they also. So my mother told me one day, she said, you have, because you see, by that time, women not having a profession, what could they do? Either go to be, and a sales lady wasn't too high class, because don't forget, we were still the upper class. You wanted, I wanted, or I don't. That's what we were considered. And you see, if you need, but money you need. So, what could I do? To be a sales lady wasn't high class. To be a dressmaker, again, wasn't. You know, only to have a schooling. So my mother said, listen, you have to have a profession. Because, and this is what I remember. You don't have to stay with your husband because he is the breadwinner. You have to stay with your husband because you love him, not because he is the breadwinner. Compris? Now I remember this. Probably, maybe it was, apparently it was somewhere in the corner of my brain. But just the same. But that time, to become a student, to be a student, it was a big, I tried to find the English word. You tried very hard. There were a lot, my friends, first of all, it was a come Kamin is, this one I'm talking of already by my student years. Kamin was anyhow, were let's say, a Jewish Kamin, were Jewish society, Jewish organizations kept a place where the Jewish students could come, where the Jewish students had their meals cheaper, and like encouraging. I had a friend that we met, I don't even remember how, we met and we decided to take a room together. You know who she was? This friend? Bella was her name. This friend was the mother of a young man that your mother was in love, Fred, in Paris. So we took a room together, and because we got, other students had a few, very little money, we had money as much as we needed to eat, and she and me. So I used to go to that Kamin to eat, and a lot of students, because they could not afford, there was that tour, they could not afford one student a meal. They were sharing 2 students a meal. So we were going there to share a meal, to be with the students, and to be like everybody else. But because we were hungry, we went to a little restaurant, which was hidden kind, and there we had that second meal. Because we were used to eat, you know, we were used to be well fed. And the boys, the girls, this was only, the boys used to live there, the girls had a separate for the girls. But we were all, it was like social, you know, place too. The boys who could not afford to pay their bed used 3 boys sleep on 2 beds. And the one that was in the middle was called Spaltist. And the how you call that? And the crack.
What does Spaltist mean?
Spalt, there where it's a crack.
Okay.
He was to sleep on the crack. And so this was kind of our student life. Then, David, let me rest a little.
Sure.
You asked me if this was university. No, David, it wasn't university. You see, to pharmacy, to go to the pharmacy, you had to work a year, I think, in a pharmacy, just as a helper, just to get acquainted with whatever, you know, the pharmacy work. But we were considered as also as students for the university. But it wasn't done in the university. It was, as I'm telling you, in the pharmacy. And this was going on while I was working in the pharmacy. And then after a year, I was registered at the university that I'm working in the pharmacy. After a year, we had to pass exams, which the exams were very, very strict and very quite hard. And
this wasn't university. What was it? High school?
no, it wasn't high school. It was a preparation.
How many years?
1 year. I think so. It was 1 year. So then, to pass the exams, they were quite a commission of professors, and they asked us all kinds of questions, and it was very hard to pass the exams.
For pharmacy?
Like, not for pharmacy, to get into the pharmacy. So, but I don't know how luckily I passed them.
Do you remember one of the exams? What it was like?
Oh, now I just don't remember if this exam was, no, it was for the license, like after I finished, that's what I'm going to tell you now. After I finished the pharmacy, the study, the 3 years. Let's say that my 3-year study wasn't, they were studying.
Well, first
But
tell me, what was it like being, were there mostly men in your class? How many women were there?
mostly men.
How was that, being a woman in pharmacy?
Well, it was just the beginning, you know, and generally, in those times, women students were not very too many, percentage. So I don't know, but they were some. They were different faculties in which women were more. Like in pharmacy, women were more. By the way, as I'll tell you, you know, one of the students asked me, what am I studying? Well, I say, what am I studying? You'll say that it's stupid, because they said that pharmacy, what they used to say is that when the pharmacist was mixing the cream or whatever he was mixing with his hand in a mojar, I don't know how you call this dish, the special dish, he didn't get, God was busy to give him brain. So the pharmacists don't have brains, because God was doing something else. He didn't give him the brain. I said, this is what you'll say if I'll tell you what pharmacy. No, he said, this is applied only to boys, not to girls. The girls got their brains. So he wanted to be nice. But that time, for this exam, it was, you see, we had to pass. It was much later when I was already married to your grandfather, that I was still a student.
Before you met Silva, did you have other boyfriends?
Yes, I'll tell you about others. So let me finish with you with the exams, what happened. This exam, you want me to finish? No?
We don't have enough room on the tape. Tell me about some of the boyfriends.
Some other boyfriends. Well, as I told you before, I was in a boarding school. And there, to go home from the boarding school, somebody had to pick you up. So to go home, like from Galatz, where was the boarding school, to Kilia, it took 1 day of boat rides. I told you this, I think. No, it took a full day of the boat rides on the Danube. And before my mother or my father, we had there, and not far from our little town, another little town, where it was a doctor who also, there are so much to say, that this doctor had for 2 or 3 years to work in that little town. This was obliged. They couldn't open an office in a big town. They had to work. It was the obligation in the tiny town. So our town was already bigger than the town that he was working. So he used to come. Where did they go? To the pharmacy. So when he came to the pharmacy and he introduced himself and so, and he said that he's going, like after a while, he said that he's going to Bucharest or Galatz, where I was studying, where I was in school, was on the road, like going to Bucharest. So my mother said, oh, when you're coming back, you know what, then bring Shura home. So he came to the school. Naturally, I went home with him. And then I was meeting him any time. I used to come home from school, other year or two. And then when I finished my schooling and I passed the exam to get into the pharmacy, also he came once and to the pharmacy, and he saw me, we were speaking. And in the meantime, my mother wasn't feeling well. So she said, would you like to examine me to see? So they went in the red room, and I can see it like today, and he examined her. And I was sitting and listening to the radio. And when he came out, he said, you know, Shurachka, I asked your hand by your mother. Would you like to marry me? And this was such a surprise because at that time girls of 17, 18, 17, 16, 17, I think I was, wouldn't even talk about marriage or oh, I say yes. You know, it was something new, something. So I said, sure, yes. Anyhow, we got engaged. But my parents put a stipulation. They say, well, sure, I'll get married only when she'll finish the university. Otherwise, we don't allow her to get married.